I'm now in the city of São Carlos in southern Brazil, and it's not often I say this, but I think I might have found a hidden gem. I am right in the centre of the city, and all the way around this central park is so much to see and do. And if you have been following me for the last few months, you'll know that I do like to go off the beaten track to smaller cities, less well-known places. And the reason I like this is the historical architecture is so well maintained. The city itself is clean. It is functional that you can walk around so easily. The people are so friendly. And last night when I went out to the shops to buy some food, there is a very impressive nightlife. But because I'm starting in the centre, obviously got to start with the cathedral. São Carlos Cathedral. Originally this would have been a wooden chapel which was built in 1856, and that was a year before the city was founded in 1857. So the church came first and then the city came. The cathedral dome right at the top is inspired by the dome of St. Peter's in the Vatican City. Now, rumour has it in the 1940s the church authorities actually wanted to move the cathedral elsewhere, but the locals went, nope, it's staying right here. So I'm going to cross the road and have a better look at this, because that looks amazing. Now, today is a public holiday. It is Corpus Christi, which means it's a bit quieter on the streets with the traffic. A lot of places are closed, including the cathedral. Now, one of the things I've noticed, especially coming down this street, is there is a lot of plaques on a lot of the buildings giving you all the history of that particular building, and they all look similar to this. I got the wrong side, it's on the right hand side. So you'll have it in Portuguese, then English, and then Spanish, which for a small city, this is really good. As I said, there's hundreds of them. Well, not hundreds, maybe 20, 30 of them. So like a lot of the cities in the Imperial, São Paulo States, this grew rich from the coffee boom, and this place especially had coffee barons who made a lot of money from the business. And the main guy for São Carlos was the Count of Pinhal. Now, when I first heard the name, I thought, oh, is that a nickname? But he was an actual count during the time when Brazil had an emperor. And just up there is a statue of the guy, and this is him. His real name was Antonio Carlos de Amuda Bartelo. I'm hoping I said it right. It's just there. And he made his dream of turning this small plantation into a city. And behind me is his mansion that he got built by an Italian architecture. Now, the Count and the other coffee barons in the area had one big problem. They needed workers, lots of them. So when slavery was abolished in Brazil, huge number of immigrants arrived from Europe, especially Italians. Many came to work on the coffee plantations around the city. Now, they've got so many Italians in the city. In the earliest 20th century, they actually had an Italian consulate in this place, which is mad when you think that there must have been so many. And that building over there, which I thought is a small chapel, it's got an Italian inscription on the side. Now I'm guessing it's a small chapel because of the fact the mansion is just over there. But as I said, when you come down to the side, that's in Italian in a Brazilian city. So as you walk around the centre and you'll come across an old building, there will be a plaque on it to tell you exactly who lived there, when it was built, how many dogs they had. And this one here is the palace of the younger brother of the Count. And like I said, it's hard to see in the sunshine. So he was Bento Carlos de Arruda Botelho. He was a wealthy landowner. He was a big investor, and he made his money out of the Light and Power Company. So he was investing his money into the electricity and the infrastructure as the city got modernized. I really do like this city. And this is only the centre. And when you look down this street, you can just see that is a beautiful sight. Right, I'm going to have a wander around further down, but here you can see a better view of the dome on top of the cathedral. Now, oh my god, he's got a loud engine. So the hostel I'm staying in is really, really sociable. Last night there was a few Brazilians chatting away, really friendly, want to know about me, I want to know about them. We were talking for a few hours this morning, especially chatting away, and one of the guys this morning said, "Oh, tonight let's all cook together." I was like, yes please, let's do it. So a sociable hostel, which is not rare, but after being in hotel rooms for the last couple of weeks, it's a nice change. So I'm walking out of the city centre itself, and as I said before, the architecture has been really well maintained, and there's another plaque on the front of the gate there, but it mixes in modern styles as well. Beautiful. So I've just read the plaque that's on the front right there, and this is proof of how big the Italian immigration was, because this was built in 1908 by Italian immigrants from northern Italy. Not inspired, built by them. And then when you look out to the scene out there, you can just see is that church tower sticking up? So you can just see in the background the dome of the cathedral amongst all the apartment blocks. And I did mention I saw the church tower when I was walking down, and as you know, I just walk around aimlessly, and there it is. So I've just found out this was built with support from the local community, including the Italian immigrants. And that's really telling me that they shaped this city. Now, would I think this was still a hidden gem if it wasn't a public holiday, if there was people and traffic all the way around. Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, it does help the fact that it is quiet, that I can film without people getting in the way. But this city is just really surprising me more and more. And that looks like a stage. So I don't know if there's something going on later on, because I've got all these stalls, lots of chairs and tables. So when São Carlos had the coffee boom and they needed to move the coffee from here to Santos to the port and send it around to the world, they needed railway. And like a lot of the cities around in the Paraná state and in São Paulo state, railway came to town. And this station is probably one of the most magnificent I've seen in Brazil so far. That is beautiful. Now, the first one was opened in 1884, but it wasn't good enough for the Italians. They wanted something better, so they demolished it and built this one in 1908. Now, the last passenger train left here carrying passengers in 2001. It's still used as a freight line. You can just see through the gates a freight train. There's a date at the top there, 1908. So this place is now a museum. Now, because it is a public holiday, it's closed. Right. But I'm just going to have a quick look in and see what I can see. But that is so beautiful. Oh, you can walk in. So this is really well maintained. Am I out walking? Wow. Oh, and there is an original train down there. So I've just found out the museum is open with a lot of the original stuff from days gone by. It is free to come in. Everything's in Portuguese, but I don't care. I'm just finding it fascinating with a lot of the original workers up there. So the museum is actually the City Museum, and it opened up here in 2001 when the City Hall took over the place after the last passenger train left. So inside you've got loads of stuff that's been donated by locals. Really fascinating. And this is one of the original trains, and this is nearly as old as the city itself. But look how well preserved it is. So this is a Baldwin American steam locomotive dating from around 1891. Oh my God, that's crazy. So this was one of the first locomotives carrying people and goods through the region around São Carlos. Wow. And everywhere you look around here, there's a little garden over there with some table and chairs. And then I just passed this before. You've got a nice view of the city from just there. It's not a complete view of the city, but you can just make out the cathedral dome, the community church spire, tower, whatever you call it. And that's a good view from here of the train station. Because São Carlos was considered an important city at the time by even the Brazilian Emperor, Dom Pedro II came to visit in 1886. So because it was becoming a rich coffee producing region, an imperial visit wasn't just him turning up for a cup of tea, it was recognition that the city mattered economically and politically. Now what's more impressive is that São Carlos didn't really stop there. When the coffee boom faded, the city reinvented itself with industry arriving, engineering arriving, universities arriving, and today São Carlos is often called the capital of technology. So you have two universities here, the University of São Paulo, which opened its engineering school here in 1953, and the Federal University of São Carlos, which followed in 1968. And there's a dog that's going to get run over. You're lucky, son. So the two universities together helped transform the city from a little coffee town into one of Brazil's leading centres of science, research and technology. I just find this place amazing. And after 5 months of travelling around South America, a lot of these cities sort of merge into one, especially when you hear, oh yeah, coffee boom, yeah, railway. But this one is just opened my eyes. And what I'm getting from this place is the fact the city feels authentic, not like a tourist attraction. It just feels like a normal Brazilian city that's actually looked after itself. The architecture, the streets. And it's not just the city centre around here. You've got so many parks around here. There's a reservoir which is meant to be amazing, and I don't think I've got the time to go and see it. And there's just so much going on that I'm surprised that no one's here for tourism. But I think it's time to head back to the hostel, mainly because my phone's dying, and without that I'll be lost somewhere in the city for the next couple of days going, has anybody got a charger? But I've thoroughly enjoyed this city, and I think if I didn't have the time that I had to get to the airport to fly back, I would have probably stayed here for at least another 2 or 3 days just to see more of the place, just to get a feel for it when it's not a public holiday. But if you've enjoyed this video, then all you got to do is press that like button. Tomorrow I am leaving. I am heading to somewhere new because I am trying to fit in as much as I can before I leave, and I think I'll sit down tonight and work out where I'm going to go. But if you want to see where I'm going, then all you got to do is press that subscribe button and watch the next video. But until the next time, I think I've got about 4% battery life left. Bye bye for now.